Right, so last session we had that lovely, lovely circus that I totally didn't BS the most of. And it was a good time for everyone, a nice distraction from Anima's existential crisis. She's doing much better now, I'm assuming. And during the circus, you guys noticed there seemed to be some sort of recognition between Spectra and another member of the crowd. You're introduced as an old friend named Meria. And Meria has taken you all out for drinks. I think Ty has gone his separate way, and Shara and Ilvasar have gone back home, and they left you with the key so you can get back in because it's not super late. And so you get in her car. It's a nicer car, but the doors seem to shut a lot heavier than they look. It's almost like they're meant to not look like they're as heavy as they are, or as sturdy as they are. Car gets parked and guides you along to a bar, and you're in an area where there's several different bars and restaurants and shops. I want to say it's kind of near where you were shopping earlier, but it might be on the other end or straight over. So it's near the downtown area. It's where a lot of people would go to get drinks or go out to dinner. Seems pretty on the up and up. I mean, some places look like they might be a little seedier, but it all in all looks like a nice place. And she guides you into one of the bars. The lighting's a little dark. Anima, you've never been into a bar before, so interesting situation for you. But everything is mostly clean.
Almost like real life. Casey doesn't go to bars either.
I'm kind of mentally basing it off of the sports bar my small group used to meet at Sunday afternoons.
Gives me literally zero frame of reference. You realize that.
No, It's just there's some irony behind it. Kind of, in co-op shows and stuff, whenever the main character is going to meet the kind of shady side character who leads him off to a booth and feeds him some information and all that kind of stuff. Picture something like that. You notice this. I don't know if Faridah would notice this. I'm pretty sure Anima wouldn't. But as everyone's settling down into the booth, Meria kind of arranges it so Spectra has her back to the door, and so that Meria, can have a direct line of sight to the front door and where the windows are. She sits down, orders everyone drinks, and she and Spectra start talking back and forth, just sort of catching up on some of the stuff that's been going on. She gives Meria a sort of brief rundown of there was a mission that went sideways, and so you're part of the crew now. She doesn't reveal a whole lot, and I don't think she specifies that you're from the Federation, but she gives Meria the brief overview, and they're swapping stories back and forth. She gets everyone a round of drinks, and you can either order your own or they'll suggest one for you. It's not like trying to get you drunk drinks. It's, we're in a bar, let's get something to drink.
I probably get a beer.
It's got beers, it's got some of the fancier stuff, it's got some good stuff on tap. It's not super high scale, but it's nice and it's kind of comfortable. How's everyone kind of reacting to this different kind of strange situations? Do you look comfortable? Are you questioning Meria? What's going on?
Actually, as we walked in, I did want to see if I could kind of watch her actions and see if this is a home base for her. How relaxed and guard down is she, right? Is she acting like she's around a lot of people that...
She does seem pretty relaxed, and she seems familiar with the people that work there, so you get the feeling it may not be a home base, but it's a place that she's comfortable with. As they're sitting down, roll insight.
All right. That's going to be a 21.
Can I also roll insight for Vi? Because, yes, you'd also be definitely paying attention to this.
Yeah, and I imagine just sort of looking as we're going in, you would have seen all the stuff Faridah did, but just sort of see what you notice as everyone is settling down into the seats.
Got a 22.
She seems very comfortable, but also you get the feeling she's watching for something. keeping an eye out on something that's on the street. It doesn't feel like she's expecting something to come in. She's trying to keep an eye on something outside, and there's a brief moment when she's gesturing for Spectre to sit in the seat with the back to the window, and as Meria sits down in front of her, they exchange a glance like they've worked together before in possibly a little more covert situations, so one of those. Spectre knows that Maria's doing something, but she's not questioning it right now.
From where I'm seeing, can I also look out that window?
Can Vi look out window?
I mean, if it's a booth and they're sitting across from each other, I'm guessing it's possible that the three of us are on the inside, facing outwards with the chain.
Some of you are going to be having to sit with your back to the window, or somewhere where you're not facing the window, but if you... I was just like, what do we lose?
Everyone had disappeared on me for a second. Okay.
You're the one that disappeared.
Okay, cool. That happened. I was gonna say that I could be the one that sits with their back to the window, because
Okay.
it doesn't make any sense. I am not gonna roll anything.
Okay, so just as they're chatting, like, Faridah and Vi, you're able to look out the window, and you don't see anything in particular. Like, there's people milling about from all different races and different styles of outfits, to some that look more in casual clothes, others that look like they're clubbing, others that you're not entirely sure what's going on there, but they seem to be having a fun time. And there's like a couple of restaurants and another bar across the street, but you don't see anything that sticks out aside from the weird outfits where you're not entirely sure what's going on there.
Can we see the car from our vantage point?
Picturing there's probably like street parking or a little parking lot, so you can kind of see where the parking lot is. I don't know if you see the car.
Okay.
But the street in front has been shut down for cars, so you probably kind of parked off to the side and to the back, just because how many people like to just sort of wander around and check out the different restaurants and go bar hopping and that kind of stuff. So there's not any cars on the street. You can still see the parking lot.
Okay. Is there just one main entrance? Are there any side windows or side doors?
It's in a strip, so there's not really any side windows because there's businesses on both sides, but there's a lot of really big windows in the front. You figure there's probably a back entrance through the kitchen, and there's like signs pointing to where the restrooms are. So you figure like it's gonna have the standard entrance and exit that you'll be able to find, and I think one of the front doors is propped open a little bit, so you can hear some of the sounds from people outside. It's just like a kind of normal downtown street at nighttime after the circus. Like after the brief sort of catch up, they kind of start swapping stories about some of the crazy stuff that they used to get into doing jobs for people, and you kind of get the feeling they're using some code words for things. They're not spelling everything out, but it's talking a lot about different sort of antiquities and weird people that they've worked with and stuff like that. Anyone have any particular questions they want to start out with, or anything they want to talk about or ask?
Probably doing mostly listen.
I have a question. Is Tali there?
Yeah, Tally's there too. I'm gonna say she's probably sitting with Spectra and Anima, just so there's like an even number of people on both sides, and she's pitching into the conversation some, and she might embellish on some things, just sort of add in like, oh yeah, and they weren't kidding, it was crazy, and so on and so forth. Some of it might be stories that you've heard before, something close to what you've heard before. I doesn't like this, I get the feeling.
Yeah, no. Vi is... I mean, she's not antagonistic, don't get her wrong. Partially because Spectra and Tali seem pretty comfortable, but no. Vi is not pleased with this situation.
Faridah is in a very similar state of mind. Watching the crowd, watching out the window, back to the door, or facing the door.
I did just roll to see if Spectra notices y'all's unease. Got a nat 20, so she does. You both get a message on your sim unit saying, take a deep breath, she'll explain in a minute. Just a brief little message from Spectra, and she kind of like makes eye contact with both of you and gives a reassuring nod.
I just look at her with a very serious face and raise an eyebrow.
I probably look at Spectra, but kind of blink. Not necessarily raise an eyebrow, but then, I mean, Vi's probably going to try to hide it a little more at that point. But yeah, no, she's definitely still. The fact that Meria intentionally put Spectra at a more vulnerable position, especially since Spectra is also a specialist, is not. It doesn't give Vi a good feeling.
Vi, roll me perception.
Okay. 20. Not nat.
Okay, so when they were sitting down, Spectra specifically sat, like, at the end of the bar, so, like, she didn't argue when Maria sent it into position or some way. But she also got a drink that comes in a sort of reflective metal cup of some sort, and she's got it positioned so she can see the door in the reflection.
So she's glancing down at the glass at least once in a while.
Yeah, so she does, and she's also kind of watching Maria's reaction, because you can tell Maria's also kind of watching the door. It's like she's waiting for something, and Spectra's not pushing. And also from the stories they tell, you can tell they've worked together for a while, and been in some hairy situations before, so they know to sort of trust each other and just kind of go with it to a certain extent.
Let's see. Vi would probably then, once there's sort of a lull. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what question to ask first.
Maria's also after, but she might kind of start asking you guys sort of about, so what is it that you all do?
I should clarify, while we were in the actual car, which I assume had rather dark windows and it was nighttime, I did take my face off and put it back on whenever we came out for the bar. So she does know who I am. I feel like that would be relevant.
Yeah, when you did that, one of her eyebrows raised, and just kind of there's a moment of both shock and amusement at this. Like, okay.
And I probably explain what I do.
In that case, she's probably nodding more towards Vi and Anima. I don't know if you guys would have said much about what you do.
Well, I'm a jeweler by trade. I make jewelry for normal wear as well as for artifice purposes.
Like this. And I point at the collar.
Yes. I helped make that, at least parts of it.
Maria just kind of nods and looks at Spectra, and Spectra says, she's rather like the friend who made me those earrings. Do you remember him? Oh yes, of course I remember him. He's quite fun to work with, and this should work out well. And you, my dear? She says, looking at you, Anima. Also, did Anima get a drink?
If she did, it was water.
She probably got some, like, snack stuff that's sitting on the counter, and probably aren't entirely sure exactly what it is. But if you try it, it tastes good. I don't know what typical bar snacks are, but it's like a little sort of finger food thing that's...
Like nuts, crackers, pretzels.
Yeah, just something like that.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, generally I hit things very hard and forget. Those are the two things I seem to be good at right now.
Well, you're also very good at cooking, Anima. You enjoy that very much.
Oh, yeah, I guess I do that too.
Interesting. Hopefully he won't need a whole lot of that. Roll perception, everyone who's kind of... Actually, yeah, just roll perception, everyone. Because even Anima, you are looking at her.
12. Perception, 17.
Let's see, this dice was nice to me last time. 16.
Okay, so... You all notice that there's like a brief flash in her eyes, and everyone who rolled higher than 15, she kind of stiffens slightly. maybe it's more of like kind of like a perk up a bit. It's like when someone who's been kind of waiting for something sees it finally happen. And Spectra also notices this, and she's like, "So, are you close to telling us exactly what we're doing here?" As she says this, she checks the reflection in the cup. And Maria says, "Oh, yes, of course, I was just waiting for someone to leave his establishment. Bit of a long story, but my ship was stolen recently, and I believe that an old friend of ours," she says, looking at Spectra, "may have some information on who might have my ship. Of course, I can't really go up and ask him because we're not on the best of terms, but turns out the luck is on our side. He's got some business to attend to on the outside of town. I was wondering if perhaps one or all of you would be interested in helping me get that information." Spectra is very intently watching the glass, like she's trying to figure out who exactly it is.
I would like to look over there as well.
I would as well.
I'm not going to, because that would probably involve me turning around and being obvious, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. There's a reason Spectra's using the cup. And I think at some point Meria just, like, casually slides a mirror across that's gonna be easier to use. And so she takes that and starts looking. But Faridah and Vi, you see the bar across the street, which kind of looks like a more exclusive, kind of ritzy place. It's probably not going to be really open and active for another couple of hours at least. I think we decided it's about 8 or 9 o'clock. There's a man in a very nice looking suit surrounded by guards that are it's about, average height for a human. His guards are ashen forged and they're huge and could probably break him in half. And there's a line of cars, and you can see, like, people are sort of scattering out of the way because, like, the cars aren't moving, but they know they're about to. It's 2 cars, one that's smaller and sleeker and one that's a little larger. And as you watch, the man starts to load up into the car, and you hear Spectra swear under her breath. I don't know what language she swears in. Y'all might actually. I think she swears in Kesh. You don't know what she said, but you can tell it's swearing.
I mean, would Vi potentially, at least a couple maybe?
But actually, yeah, no. Given stuff, I wouldn't say that you're fluent in Kesh, but you probably
No.
Between backstory stuff and the language lessons. You know the basics, and she was definitely swearing, and it's one of those. It was basically the cash version of shit.
Is that the friend of yours?
Spectre just looks up at Meria with a kind of "you've got to be kidding me" look, and she's like, "Are you sure he has what you're looking for?" Yes, unfortunately, it's the main reason I'm on this planet, and I do realize that you're unfortunately not going to be much help. I do believe you're still not allowed in any of his establishments after the last time, but I was hoping Tali or perhaps your friends here could provide a distraction while I get business taken care of.
What kind of a distraction are you looking for?
Nothing big. There's someone there, bouncer perhaps, who has a key card I could use, or I think a couple of the people there should have a key card. If you can get me that, and then keep everyone's attention and make sure no one goes to the back office until I'm done. Hopefully it won't take me too long to find whatever it is I'm looking for. Inspector responds, "I can keep an eye out from here and let you know if he's about to return." Wonderful, darling.
Do you have any information about the inside of the place, or do you want us to do this distraction out in the street? It just seems a little risky to do it out there.
Oh no, I've been in there before. Like I said, we've done business. He's just... She looks for a second like she's trying to think of a good word. He's an asshole. And he's been rather uppity. I would rather not deal with him because he would make me pay out the nose for information. So, I do know the layout. I know where the office is, and I know how to get into it. Hacking this computer is going to be child's play. I just could use some distraction, because I would rather him not know I was there. You can just keep people busy inside of the bar.
Okay, keep them busy in front of the bar. Is there a security system that we would need to be concerned about, or are you going to take care of that as well while you're in the office?
I can take care of that as well. And she said inside of the bar.
Okay, inside of the bar.
So basically, you can just be the annoyingly chatty patrons who are there before everyone else gets there. Just keep everyone distracted. And this particular individual also deals in some less than savory things, so might also be able to get some information on parts of his network. Make his life hell. Spectre just gets a grin. I definitely like the sound of that.
What is in there besides a bar? Is it only a bar? Is it a sort of casino place or gambling den? What is that establishment exactly?
It's one of his less interesting establishments, which is why I'm choosing to take care of my business there. Security's pretty light. It's mostly where the fancy socialites go to drink very expensive liquor and wine and whatever else will he can trick them into thinking is the next big foreign exotic thing. But security's lighter there, and the business doesn't really pick up until early in the morning. Fortunately, I don't know exactly how long he's going to be gone for his meetings, so are you all comfortable with this? Hopefully it's just going to be you getting drinks and chatting with the gods and distracting them for a little bit. Low risk, high reward.
How many guards are there? Have an approximate number? Would they all be by the bar? I mean, we don't want to do something that would get us kicked out, necessarily. Because once we leave, they'd be back on and you'd have to figure out another way out.
Yes, that would be rather annoying. There's usually one guard towards the back, and I think he employs a bouncer as well. There might be a couple of wait staff, but I wouldn't worry too much about them. Like I said, they mostly serve more ritzy people, the more established. You would be a good distraction, just straight towards Faridah, but I also understand if you would rather not.
Oh, my face is not on the agenda tonight. However, I do have some ideas.
It's fair enough. I would never make someone reveal themselves in such a way.
Well, I also feel like the nuclear option is a little bit excessive for what you're looking for.
It is true, but it would certainly be a shock to them.
Be a pretty big distraction.
Yes, the kind of distraction that would call attention to someone trying to make a distraction.
In no way does Faridah have to reveal herself for this at all.
She won't be. In fact, she's going to pull out her phone and tap around on it for a little bit, and you'll see like a circle of pink light up around the phone. And then she's just going to hold it up like a mirror. And then the people sitting on my side of the table are going to see her scrolling through faces of different people. And she's going to stop on one of the musicians that she actually bought the record of back at the record store. And she's just going to tap that, and you'll see the circle like expand a little bit and then shrink back inside the phone. And you'll feel a little pulse of the magic stuff as her eyes do the glow, or blue glow. And the illusion of the earrings is going to waver just a little tiny bit, and then it's going to solidify again.
Oh my god, yes. Your DM loves this plan. Meria just kind of nods at you approvingly.
It's been part of my loadout since day one. I never counted on having the earrings. They're just useful.
So does Faridah now look like that musician?
No, she looks like fake Faridah.
But okay.
Because the earrings will override whatever it is that you look like to me. However, if she were to tap her earrings, she would probably not look like Faridah when.
Okay.
Yes. Could be interesting, and perhaps you Anima could pose as a bodyguard.
That's what exactly I was thinking, yeah.
The best disguise is the one you don't even need to use.
Vaelena, are you good with computers? Get the feeling she's asking if you're a hacker.
Can get around on them. I have some experience with them. Why? Is there anything in particular you were thinking?
Aside from the fact that it would go much faster, we could probably get some more useful tidbits working together. And with the both of us, we may not even have to get a keycard.
I mean, I can try.
Tali perks up. Hey, maybe I can be the distraction that helps you guys. I can help y'all get in the door. I can be the fangirl. I'm good at that.
This is true.
Flashback Tali fangirling. You've seen how good she is at fangirling over Faridah.
Yep.
Over several things.
Yep.
We're gonna be entirely honest.
Yeah, she's just a very kind of happy-go-lucky person. I'm excited teenager that I did not intend to create, but I made the decision and I'm sticking with it. So far, the fan sentiment role seems to be Anima. But to be fair, everyone did just meet Tali.
And made a fan favorite character for a little bit. That feels good.
That won't disappear because they still haven't heard that. The most recent series of reveals.
No, they haven't.
And there's more stuff that Casey doesn't even know about.
That even Casey doesn't know about. Casey doesn't know about things.
Anima knows an entire language that Casey doesn't know what it is yet, because the DM has not decided yet. Please don't mind.
Yeah, the Ashen Forge are supposed to know the language of their former life, but Prometheans only speak common, and I already know common, so.
I mean, she lived 5 years in one place before stuff happened, so who knows what language you could have learned. Your DM certainly doesn't yet. Looks like we have a plan then. Shall we go?
Okay.
Spectra, do you mind keeping the table for us? Of course, this would be my pleasure, as long as the drinks go on your tab. Meria doesn't really respond. She just kind of waves off. It's like, let's go on then, shall we? Perhaps the two of you, looking at Faridah and Anima, should go in first, and then Vaelena and I can go in second. Or the other way around. Up to you. What do you think would work?
For relevancy, have you told us the names of the musicians that I was buying stuff from?
DM has not planned that far into the world.
All right.
Feel free to make that up.
I'd say Faridah should, I think, have had enough time to at least research them a little bit. If
Oh yeah, and their names would have been next to their faces as she was pulling it up.
You can pick that. Because that's kind of Faridah's scene in your character, your corner of the world.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Angelina Germanata.
Tali's like, actually, here's an idea. Meria and Vi, you guys can kind of slip in first. Then you two go. Running a Faridah and Anima. And then when you take your face off, I can come in and start freaking out. Or I could just come in and, if we need a distraction, you can take the face off and I can start freaking out.
They could usher me into the bar to keep me away from you. I say it as a joke, but also it would totally work.
Then they might usher you into the office, which is problematic.
Fair. If they leave us in the office, we can fish around.
I'm not sure they'd leave you alone in the office.
Oh, absolutely not.
I can be either persuasive or forceful. It is a private quarters, after all.
Perhaps let's try letting the hackers go in first, because I feel like they can get more information faster.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know anything about computers.
No, you don't. You know of.
I don't have a negative in it anymore. But I also don't have a plus, so.
Yeah.
I have a rather fair score in computers.
Let's try giving the hackers a shot, unless you would like to try and hack something, Faridah.
No,
Or
I'm good.
you could just be really distracting and annoy the guards.
As much as I have faith in my abilities, I have a faith in certain abilities more than
Yeah. So it's decided then, Vi, you're going in with Meria to sort of get through the back door. And then the rest of you are going to go in as distraction, and Spectra's just going to sit by herself at the bar and drink stuff.
As we head over across the street, I will send a mental missive to Spectra saying, don't worry, I have a feeling you're going to get some excitement too.
Here's Montag. It's never dull.
Oh boy. Okay.
So, Meria, are you and I going through the back? Normally, I don't suppose they usually let people in through the back, so we may need to stealth around. Is that correct?
No, I was just planning on walking in through the front door. And if we got caught coming out of it, we could just pretend like we're trying to find the bathroom, or if we could come up with some excuse for being where we are that makes them extremely uncomfortable.
Alright then.
Or between the both of us, we could just knock them out to make it think we were just trying to rob the register. Hopefully none of those will be necessary, but yeah. Just go in the front door, shall we?
Anima, let's take a lap around the block so that the front door's guards forget who we are. They probably noticed us walking through the door.
Alright.
They shouldn't be paying too much attention there. This place doesn't start seeing action until very early in the morning. Not exactly my favorite place, but still do. As she says that, she kind of like walks in through the front door. And also, as she's walking, she's kind of like fiddles with her necklace. As you watch, it's like her facial features have changed slightly. Like, not a whole lot, but like just enough to where she doesn't look exactly the same. When she sees you looking, she just kind of winks and walks in the front door.
Alright. I follow her.
When you walk in, you see there's a bar against one wall. Like, this place is like very clean and sleek. Ground floor isn't that wide, but you can see a staircase leading up, so you figure these are multi-story buildings, so you figure like that all 2 or 3 floors go with this bar, so there's probably a lot more party space beyond just sort of the front entrance. There's also a door on the side that looks like it could possibly lead to the next building over. I get the feeling like this is usually a pretty packed party place, but there's like a couple of people sitting around. It's like smattering of people. The people like eating dinner. It's the people that go to the sports bar for early dinner or something. They're just there because the food's good or because they like the drinks. And Meria just kind of walks over and settles down at a table that is close to... Actually, it's close to this rather unremarkable piece of wall. And she just kind of sits down with her back pointed towards that wall. It's kind of near the where the hallway to the restrooms are. And she just like pulls up the menu and starts looking at it. There's a waiter behind the bar that's dealing with a couple of people who doesn't seem to be paying you a whole lot of mind. And the bouncer just kind of usually looked at you, nodded, and just kind of kept staring off into space. Do you follow?
Yes. And then once we sat down, I also opened my menus, and then my menu. There's only one menu. And then once we settled down for a second, I mental missive Meria. I think this is invisible. It's definitely silent. I don't think there's like a visual part of it that people would notice.
Even if there's like you sort of having to mouth the words, it might just look like you're reading the menu to yourself. Waiter starts to come up and Meria just kind of shoos them away and they just shrug and go back to what they were doing.
Okay, so I mental missive Meria. So exactly where is this office that you're talking about?
Did mental missive do pictures?
No.
You see the eyebrow raised just a hair and then she just kind of Nonchalantly, not like no one's that well behind her, you get a bit dismissive back. Very clever at hiding the door, but hopefully it shouldn't take too long to crack it.
Okay, then.
You have a code breaker with you.
Yes.
I'm just assuming Vaelena never leaves without it.
Yeah, she'd probably have it relatively hidden, because having, like, a glass cutter, lockpicks, and a code breaker is very suspicious.
I just imagine anyone who had to give her really through a pat down would just be finding stuff in weird places. Like a lot of stuff shoved in her shoes. You've had practice hiding things so people can't steal it.
Yeah.
It might have actually even been something your mentor kind of helped you figure out was places to hide things where even if you're getting a pat down, they're probably not going to notice. You've got it cleverly hidden.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Also, Tali's probably taken some time to upgrade yours to more Alliance specifications so it'll work faster. That was part of why y'all had such a hard time getting into the shuttle until Spectra started messing with it.
That, and I rolled terribly. That I remember.
I'm giving narrative reasons for terrible dice rolls.
Okay.
It also been Vi was very distracted by so much suspicion.
Yeah.
5 or 10 minutes pass, and Faridah, Anima, it's your turn to come in, and Tully's gonna come in a little bit after you. Actually, no, I think she probably came in and sat somewhere else, sort of following Meria and Vi. She's probably like sitting at the bar chatting with someone.
So we'll come back around the block in Villa. In a shocking move of subtlety, I'm just gonna walk through the door. I'm not gonna change my face.
I've fallen into like a bodyguard position a couple paces behind her.
Like bodyguard trying to be subtle without being a bodyguard.
Kind of.
Roll me a performance check.
Oh. Cool, okay.
This is mostly just for fun.
That's an 11.
People eye you, and then they kind of look over at Faridah like they're trying to figure out what important person she is, but it's like they can't quite figure out. So, Faridah, you have like a 14 passive perception, right?
It's 12, actually, for some reason.
Didn't we decide that was wrong?
No, I did the math, and it's right.
You notice you're getting some quizzical looks like people are trying to figure out who you are, but they don't seem all that interested.
I slow down to be affiliated to her, and will gesture towards one of the tables kind of in the back corner.
In the corner opposite to where Vi and Meria are sitting.
Yes.
Okay. So you settle in your seat, and the waiter just kind of wanders over and is like, Eldori guy. He looks younger than Vi, like the Eldori equivalent of like 18 or 19, and I think we decided Vi looks like she's mid to late 20s-ish.
Sounds about right, yeah.
And Vi, if you look at this guy, you can estimate he probably is about mid to late 20s-ish, literally. He just comes up and says, hey, what can I get you?
Hey there, well, we're just warming up, so could you get me this beer? I named the brand of beer that I had previously in the other bar. We're just getting ready for the night.
Dang, you're a little early for most of the fun stuff. I think I should be kicking something on upstairs. I'll let you know when they do. And wanders off.
Thank you.
You see the person behind the bar who's just glaring daggers at him briefly before returning to their polite conversation with Holly, like, that's not how we do it here.
You'd be surprised what charming compliment.
It was more of a, ooh, that's bad customer service. So he kind of wanders off, and like you see, like a couple more people are starting to filter in and start kind of taking up the attention of the barkeep, and the bouncer at the front's busy checking on stuff. Takes a couple minutes, but the waiter brings you a drink, and Anima, he's just gonna bring you water.
Cool, okay.
Pretty clear designated driver.
Well, get that and obvious bodyguard to what is probably daughter of one of the really, really rich people around here.
Oh, even better. Yes, fill in the gaps. Fill in the gaps.
That is the most logical thing that they would assume, because there's like a pretty affluent neighborhood nearby.
That's what I'm going for. I'm going for the several levels of deception here, which is the less information you give, the more information the suspect is going to make up.
Yeah, when did Faridah get so good at hiding shit?
I mean, she's had to hide her magic abilities for her entire life.
Yeah, your parents probably set you down for a good talk after a very, very nice Federation official came to ask questions, because it was when her powers had just kicked in.
And she's also friends with Vaelena.
Just absorbed it via osmosis.
She's pretty smart. She can figure out stuff.
Back over to Vaelena and Meria, you see her looking around, and what are you doing while you just kind of wait to see what she does?
I would probably send another mental missive to Meria saying if there's a specific point in time that you want Faridah to start, just let me know. I can missive her as well.
As you say that, she just kind of like gets up and stretches and like walks over. I think there's like some sort of music thing next to the piece of wall that she kind of indicated as the door. So she walks up to that and just gives a subtle gesture for you to kind of follow her. She stands in a way that kind of like blocks that certain section of the wall from the view of some of the others.
Okay, as I see her moving towards the door, I mental missive Faridah saying, hey, we're starting now.
Okay, I'm going to keep my eye out, and I'm not going to cause a ruckus until, like, the last moment that we need a ruckus. So, like, no preemptive ruckus. If y'all are successful at being sneaky, we can probably delay how long we can wait before backup starts to arrive. So if anything starts to go wrong, sound off.
Okay, will do.
Y'all weren't expecting to be robbing a bar tonight. Debating making this casino. I was like, it's 2 Oceans 11. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned next time to find out what happens on board the Opal Star. If you don't want to wait, you can get early access to our episodes over at patreon.com/pseudonymsocial. If you like our show, please consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcasting app so people can know where to find us. We couldn't do this without your help. Aboard the Opal Star is a production of Pseudonym Social, changing reality one story at a time. It is DM'd and produced by me, Brianna Toiber.
I'm Casey, and I'm playing Anima the Ashenforged.
Victor, I'm playing Faridah the Promethean.
My name is Alexis, and I am playing Vaelena Sorrel, the Eldori.
With music by Patrick Chester of Chester Studios. To get more information on this or any of our other shows, check out our website at pseudonymsocial.wordpress.com.